Welcome to Talkie Talk, a movie show. I'm Susan.
And I'm Ben. It's Halloween time, and today we'll be discussing the Scream film series.
And joining us today is our very special guest, Katelyn Rogers.
Hi, Katelyn.
Did I do it right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Thanks for joining us today. How you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me. This is delightful. I miss you guys.
Yeah, we missed you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Katelyn is actually coming to us from California.
Yeah, Katelyn.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That's right. Tell us a little bit, Katelyn, about what you do out there.
I make sure that when Superman goes into a telephone booth, he doesn't come out naked. That's nobody wants to see that. Well, that's not true, but most people don't want to see that. So my job is to clothe the special humans that are on screen that have superpowers.
That's right. So you build costumes, right?
I build costumes, yes. And with that, I will say that it is a giant network of humans that are involved with making all films. And with what I do is I like to consider that myself as building these costumes, but it's this huge company that I work for that we also have people such as sculptors and painters and 3D artists, and we have fabric production and screen printing for fabric, tons of stitchers, tons of fabricators. So many humans go into making what the magic that you see on the screen.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what was like your path? How did you get to this career? Because most people do not end up making like superhero costumes. So how did you kind of get here? Like what was your path you took?
Well, it was an unpredictable, very risky and spontaneous path, I will say. Some of it was planned. Some of it was just jumping in when the opportunity came knocking. I started at 8 years old and I really wanted to do costumes. So I started learning how to sew. And that's what really got me to where I'm at is the idea that I wanted to build things and construct beautiful garments and design. And I just love working with my hands. So from there, I just sewed all my life. And then I eventually ended up meeting Ben by going to college for this.
And I was really lucky to meet you.
Yeah, totally. I did costume construction in college, where it taught me all the fine tuning of tailoring and costume fabrication in the theater realm. And I pursued fashion design, which helped me come up with alternative ideas to not only fabrication, but also thinking outside the box. And with those two things, I pursued a career in vintage wedding gowns in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I came to a point in my life where I decided that I needed to pay back that lovely college that I decided to borrow money for. And the vintage wedding gowns weren't cutting it for me. So with $500 in my pocket and a plane ticket to Los Angeles, I flew over here and got on a bicycle and rode my bike to different places and knocked on the right doors, worked for free for a little while, and just happened to be at the right place at the right time. So I ended up getting hired for Spider-Man movie, where I got to meet lovely Andrew Garfield and make his costume. So
that was the Amazing Spider-Man film, right?
It was the second one, I'm pretty sure of. Yeah, it's the second one.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what other movies have you worked on that you can tell us about?
Usually I can talk about things I've worked on, but again, it's thousands of people working on.
Right, it's not just you.
It's not just me. But most people are a big fan of Deadpool.
Yes.
So I get to work on Deadpool, the first one, the second one, and the big one that everyone loves is Black Panther. Super fan of that one.
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch of others like Captain Marvel and Shazam and some others in there too.
So
you can IMDb me.
look her up, guys. When you are building a costume, you work with a lot of different people. What part do you do?
Well, I'm considered the lead fabricator. Lead fabricator / supervisor. So I'm kind of unique in the field where I get to help run the business on a small degree. I'm not the owner. I just am the supervisor. So I'm in charge of seeing the project from the very beginning to the very end and allocating the work accordingly. I'm also the cutter fitter. So I'm in charge of making the patterns. So yeah, I'm pretty much there in the beginning when I get a drawing, a cartoon little rendering of a superhero man that looks so unrealistic, and then we go from there talking about the build. So who's going to be involved and what department that's gonna I don't know be distributed to, and then we all come together with the kind of the initial idea of how it's all going to be made. And then from there, I start to make fit blocks, and we work with the actors, and we come together with the designer, and the director and producer are involved in some of that stuff. And then we have to make sure that we have a full costume ready to go on when they do the screen testing. So I'm involved in a little bit of everything, but also have a huge team that helps me out.
Very, very cool.
Awesome. So do you have any moments in your career where you just kind of couldn't believe what was happening? Like you're like, I can't believe this is part of my job, or like some weird moment, or like a really favorite moment that really sticks out in your mind?
I can't believe this is real, or I can't believe it's not butter moment is I was asked to help dress for Deadpool, and not that I don't want to do it. It's just there are people that have spent their whole life dressing humans, and it is a skill. Let me tell you.
You're talking about putting an actor in the costume.
Putting a person in a costume is a whole nother field that I do not want to partake in, because it is not my skill. You have to be very personable, and you have to be also not very awkward when you're asking them to undress. So that is not something I'm great at. Nah, I'm gonna say that's the best thing I'm at. So anyways, for all these dressing ideas, they always get a dresser, and it's always with them, and they're comfortable with them. They can be around them. They can like have conversation and stuff. So they asked me to do it only because Ryan Reynolds was going to Conan, and nobody was available, and nobody knew the costume. Well, I do know the costume. Yeah. I just don't necessarily want to be the first to be like, yeah, I'll dress that guy. So anyways, it came to the last moment. I finally said, okay, fine, you got nobody else. So I went there, and nothing unusual, except for the fact that Ryan Reynolds can put the entire Deadpool costume on without any help. I don't know. I think he is a magician, because that is pure magic right there, guys. So he didn't need my help at all, but they told me to stand off to the side with his accessories, which is like a sword or something like that. And so I did, and they kind of shoved me off into this little room. And this little room was really tiny. It was only like 10 by 10. And there was a massage table in the middle of the room.
Uh-oh.
And a bunch of different lotions. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm in here. And I don't know why I'm the only one in here. What's going on? And the first person that comes in clearly doesn't realize that I'm the only one in the room, and it is Conan O'Brien. It's Conan O'Brien in just a towel.
Just a towel?
Just a towel. Just a towel.
Oh, God.
He goes, oh, I'm sorry. I'm Conan. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And that was the moment in my life that I really reached deep in my soul and go, how the hell did I get here?
That's amazing.
And I've never been more proud of myself than that moment. I can tell you that.
And I hope he was a gentleman.
He was very much a gentleman. He ended up, his whole team came in, and then they actually had a bit. So there was a reason why there was a massage table. Deadpool was involved. You can watch the Conan episode. It all makes sense. It's a joke. But at the time, I wasn't in on that joke. So
Say someone wanted to get into costume work and to do the kind of stuff that you do. What kind of skills do you think that you've found to be very handy?
with skills and, well, I will tell you, I have some advice for kids that are very interested in this. I will say this career path is extremely interesting, and a lot of people really find it as a job that is pretty glamorous, and I can tell you immediately it is not glamorous. There's nothing about it that's glamorous. It sounds glamorous, but it isn't. I will say that to get where I'm at, it's not easy. It's extremely risky. There is no financial reward, and it's a lot of luck too. So I will say, unless you feel like this is the only thing you could ever imagine yourself doing, and you would give up everything else that you'd ever want just to do this, and to wake up every day and work very hard just to be able to see some of your stuff on screen, that would be my only advice, is to, if you decide to pursue that, it has to be something that you give it your all, or it's just not worth it. It's really hard. It's really risky. It's just like everyone that says they come to Hollywood to be a famous star. It doesn't really involve the glamour. It's more of the hard work that gets you there.
Yeah.
So with that, spend time learning a solid skill that you keep at. And every time that you find something that you don't like doing, get good at that thing you don't like doing, and you'll be surprised how far that gets you.
Awesome.
Great.
Good advice.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, tell you what, let's move on to our featured films. Today we're going to be discussing the Scream series. The original film debuted in 1996, and the most recent Scream 4 film was released in 2011. There's a plan for a Scream 5 to film and to release in 2022. We'll see if that happens. Each film was directed by Wes Craven, who has since passed away. He passed away in 2015. And they star Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, and Roger Jackson as the phone voice of Ghostface. Heads up, we will be spoiling the movies, so if you don't want them spoiled, jump ahead now. Susan, why don't you break down the films for us? Give us a quick synopsis. What are these films about?
Yeah, so really all 4 films really follow the story of Sydney Prescott. She's kind of like the survivor girl, as they call her in the movies. But it starts off with, everybody pretty much knows the beginning shot of Scream. Starts the beginning with Drew Barrymore, and she gets murdered. Spoiler, but it happens in like the first 10 minutes of the movie. And then from there, it follows the killer, who's called Ghostface, and Sydney Prescott. And we just follow the relationship between whoever's behind the Ghostface mask and Sydney through all 4 films. And needless to say, a lot of people die through all 4 films.
A lot of people die.
A lot of people die. But Sydney's still alive, and she will be in Scream 5. So they have confirmed a lot of the original cast for that 5th installment in the series, which I think is pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Katelyn, have you seen the Scream films?
I have seen a couple. I've only recently seen the first one, though. So I don't recall a lot of the story plot except for the first one, because I rewatched it recently.
Okay.
I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
What made you pick Scream?
We picked Scream because we knew our first episode would be in October, so we wanted to do a scary movie. And we have a drive-in theater in our town, and with everything going on, we can't go see movies in the theater very easily. So we saw that the drive-in was playing Scream and Pet Sematary, and we're like, let's go, it's October, let's go do something spooky. So we watched Scream, and we're like, we should do this for our first episode, because it's like kind of a classic scary movie from when we were younger.
Yeah,
so,
well, I think we were in middle school, high school at the time it came out. Well, 96, right?
96. So kind of a classic from when we were younger. We thought it'd be a good one to do. And it's become sort of a cult classic now. And with the new one coming out in 2022, we thought it'd be fun to do it because of that too. So,
Right.
Good
Yeah.
choice.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite? Is that your favorite Halloween movie?
I don't know if I have a favorite Halloween movie. I like Scream. I think mostly for nostalgia because when it first came out, I watched it a million times. But then I didn't watch it for years until this year when we saw it at the drive-in. Nostalgically, I like it a lot. I don't know what my favorite scary movie is.
I don't think I have a favorite Halloween movie. I just like, mixing it up every year. But I think this one's kind of cool because at least the first Scream film, it borders on parody a little bit, but it really does steal from a lot of the other classic Halloween slasher type movies, and they reference them quite a bit throughout all the films. I think they're a lot of fun to watch. I definitely think the first one is the best of the four.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Although I will say Scream 4 has the best twist at the end. And I won't mention what it is because it's so good that if someone hasn't seen Scream 4 yet.
I would say Scream 4 was surprisingly fun. It was much better than 2 and 3. I think 3 was the worst.
Yeah, I did not. 3 is my least favorite, yeah.
It just gets really outlandish and really kind of off the rails a little bit. What do you think, Katelyn?
Well, I mean, after what you guys said, I have a little bit more respect for it because now that I'm thinking back, Cabin in the Woods, I feel like took what they did and went a little bit further and better with it.
Totally.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods, I think, was a better parody of horror movies than this one for sure.
And it played more into the comedy, definitely. But Scream 4 definitely played into your expectations a lot. And, they have the jump scares and stuff like that. But it is directed by Wes Craven, and he is a horror icon. So he definitely knew what he was doing.
Well, also, I was 10 years old, so anything was going to do it for me at that point.
It's pretty easy to scare a 10-year-old.
And, I mean, the first one holds up in terms of just being scary.
It is.
For at least for a while. Now, one thing I do find very funny about these movies is that Ghostface, the killer, is a very bumbling character.
He got hit in like the nuts how many times?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that until I rewatched the movie.
He's getting beat up and slapped around a lot.
I do not remember until I rewatched it how clumsy he is. Like, he falls on every single thing possible. Just slams right into windows. Like, he has no spatial awareness at all.
Which I think is very, very funny. Now, one question I did want to ask you, Katelyn. Being a professional person in the industry as well as very knowledgeable about costumes, what do you think about Ghostface, the costume?
Well, it was brilliant marketing because, I mean, anyone can make that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I also noticed that I would have never noticed before. There's like glitter in his costume.
Really?
Yeah, the black actually has this shimmer. And I had no idea until I watched the film as an adult.
Yeah, I'm going to have to rewatch it. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I didn't notice the glitter. That's funny. Do you think that was supposed to be there, or was that probably just some glitter got on the costume?
I think it was supposed to be there. They picked a shimmer fabric, and it's pretty funny because it's kind of feminine.
Well, sometimes Ghostface is a woman, right?
That's true.
There you go.
Funny.
Yeah, I mean, these movies are ridiculous, but they're fun. They're also, I like the mystery aspect of trying to figure out who the killer or killers are. I think that's fun. And definitely the fourth one, I think, had the best twist, like Susan said.
Yeah, it's the best. Yeah, it was. It blew my mind because all the others, I was like, I think I know who did it, and I wasn't always right, but it wasn't always completely off the wall. But for Scream 4, the ending's almost so completely unpredictable that part of me doesn't think it's very good. but it's also a really good twist, so that makes up for it. But Katelyn, you said there was something about these movies that made you mad? Are you like...
Oh, yes. I mean, some stuff, I think it's the parody part. That's why when you said that, it clicked. But it's like, the woman is stuck in the garage and can't open the door, but then the killer just opens the door.
Right, yeah.
and then the other thing is, I can't help it. Like, I know how a house works. And things are built. Like, a garage door doesn't lift a human body. Like,
correct.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not what they're meant for. So, but it's great. It's great. I should just enjoy the film instead of over-analyzing.
Hey, that's what we're here for. We are here to over-analyze these things. So what are your guys' favorite deaths in the movies?
Hmm.
And the garage door was pretty crazy.
I mean, you can't forget that one.
Yeah,
the
that
cat
one.
door.
The cat door is all I can think of right now.
Yeah.
The other thing is about her death is like, why was she killed? I don't know.
Other than I guess that he had to kill everybody, but yeah, no, that's not a good justification.
Yeah, I mean that the motives aren't 100% sound, but that's not what these
Yeah.
movies are about, right? It's just about crazy people doing crazy things and somehow being connected to Sydney as our main character.
Right. And also it's more terrifying when they don't really have a great reason.
Right.
Totally, and that actually that's what they talk about at the end. Is that the first one where the killers are like, "Hey, not having a motive is even more scary." So
Yeah, I mean, their motive was pretty much just. I mean, I guess it was kind of about Sydney's mom, but it was also just
But
like
at
we
the
want
end-
to imitate movies,
right,
like
right. So some very entertaining films. Check
Yeah.
them out. They're not classic films. We'll get to better films down the road.
I think the original Scream's pretty classic. at
It
this
is
point.
classic.
Well,
pretty
Ben,
good.
what was your favorite death scene?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I thought a lot of them were very ridiculous. But I really liked I think it's the beginning of 3 in the movie theater. I just like the idea. I know that movie's ridiculous, and I was just complaining about it. But the idea of watching a movie in the movie theater while a killing's happening in the movie theater,
Yeah.
is very meta, and it was creative, and I thought that was well done. But at the same time, I definitely feel like these movies are fiction. They're supposed to be fun, not taken too seriously. So if you go in with that frame of mind, you'll have some fun.
Yeah, definitely go into it knowing that it's very like meta. Like they talk about scary movies inside the scary movie constantly.
Right. Yeah, and if you are a fan of scary movies, then you'll enjoy it more because you'll get a lot of the references.
It's also great to see the origins of a lot of these famous actors and actresses.
Oh, and there's so many famous people in them.
Yeah,
too.
when I was rewatching Scream, I was like, "Oh, I know who that is. I know who that is. I know this." Like looking people up. Yeah, all of them do that.
They must have just called a whole bunch of their friends up to be like, "Hey, want to be in a movie?"
Yeah.
Which is very cool. All right, Katelyn. Well, we'd like to finish up our show today with a game of Talkie trivia.
Ooh.
So how this works, we're going to give you 2 minutes to answer as many movie trivia questions as you can.
Oh my goodness.
And you can pass if you don't know an answer. And if you get 7 correct, you'll get a prize. And we don't know what that prize is yet. You'll get some in the mail from us.
Oh, sweet.
Katelyn, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. And begin.
All right, question 1. What is the name of the actress who wore a black dress and braided her hair to play Wednesday in the Addams Family films?
Oh, Christina Ricci?
Correct.
Yes. Question 2. Donning a fedora and a leather jacket, Harrison Ford played Indiana Jones in 4 films, directed by who?
Steven Spielberg.
Yes.
Correct.
Question 3. You're almost halfway there. At the climax of Kill Bill Volume 1, what is the color of Uma Thurman's costume that consists of a bomber jacket and matching pants?
Oh, it is yellow and black.
Yes.
Correct.
Question 4. In Black Panther, Shuri gives T'Challa an upgrade to his costume. What items does she design to hold his nanotech costume?
The necklaces.
Yes!
I was gonna say the sneakers because that's my favorite part of all her like.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
movie. So
One
good.
minute. 1 minute.
Okay, question 5. What is the name of the monster in the dancing clown costume from the It films?
Oh no! Oh no! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! You're gonna kill me. No!
It's not a quarter. It's not a dime. It's not a nickel.
Penny, Pennywise.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness! I listened to that band.
Question 6. At the beginning of Scream, what is Drew Barrymore's character Casey cooking?
Popcorn, Jiffy Pop.
Yes. All right. Question 7. Before directing Scream,
20 seconds.
Wes Craven created another horror icon named Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Freddy wears a fedora, a green and red striped sweater, and a glove with blades on the fingertips on which hand?
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
5 seconds.
I would assume it's his left because you gotta use it, right?
Guess again.
Right?
Yeah! 2 minutes! Oh,
You did it.
you did it, Katelyn.
All right, so we will be sending you some kind of prize, probably some kind of T-shirt, in the mail soon for getting an awesome question right.
Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Fun.
That was super fun. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight, Katelyn, and for being on the show.
Oh, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add before we let you go?
Or anything you'd like to plug.
Yes.
Plug. Let's see. Well, I have a side job for fun, and it is still vintage wedding gowns, and it's called Silver Screen Bridal. And sometimes I make stuff and I sell it, but I rarely do that because I'm so busy.
Awesome.
But thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so
for
much.
coming onto our show. It was fun having you.
And if any of you out there want to suggest a movie for us to watch and talk about, shoot us an email. You can email us at talkietalkmovies@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yay.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.